Hey everyone, and a very warm welcome back to Fluent and Forward. I'm Emma, and I am so incredibly happy to be spending this time with you in our little cozy corner of the world.
And I'm Liam. I've just settled in with a hot cup of black coffee, and I have to say the energy today feels really special. It's one of those mornings where everything feels possible?
I totally know that feeling, Liam, but I'll be honest with you, I didn't wake up feeling that way. I actually spent about 20 minutes staring at an old photo of myself from 10 years ago and feeling a little bit sad.
Oh, I think we've all been there. Was it one of those where did the time go moments? Those can be really heavy when they hit you out of nowhere.
Exactly. I was looking at that younger version of me and thinking about all the things I promised I would do by now. I actually had this very loud, very annoying thought. Emma, it's probably just too late to start those things now.
That is such a common soul killer of a thought, isn't it? It's like a tiny ghost that follows us around, whispering that we've missed our chance or that the bus has already left the station.
It really is a ghost, and it can be so paralyzing. But then I realized something that shifted my whole mood, and that's exactly what we're diving into today. The truth that it is never, ever too late to reinvent yourself.
I love that we're talking about this because there is truly no greater pain than the pain of regret. Nothing can eat away at your happiness more than that feeling of, I should have tried.
Ooh, you're right. I think we are often so afraid of the risk of failing that we choose the much bigger failure, which is settling for a life that we don't actually want.
That's a deep point, Emma. We think staying safe is the smart move, but staying in a place that doesn't make you grow is actually the riskiest thing you can do.
It's true. We worry about the what-ifs of trying something new, but we forget to worry about the what-if of staying exactly the same for the next 10 years.
Right. And that's why we want to encourage everyone listening today. If you have a dream in your heart or even just a small desire to be better, today is your day. It's the first day of the rest of your life.
I love that. It doesn't matter what happened in your past or how many times you've fallen down. Tomorrow is a brand new day, and the sun is still going to shine behind those clouds.
Exactly. And turning everything around isn't impossible. It just takes a bit of commitment and the courage to face the unknown. You aren't the first person to want more out of life, and you certainly won't be the last.
So if you're listening and you feel like you're just drifting or playing it safe, stay with us. We're going to talk about how to push through that fear of failure and truly commit to making this very day the best one yet.
We're going to look at why we fear the unknown and how to find that inner warrior to fight for the top spot in our own lives. Grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's talk about why it's never too late to try again.
So, Liam, if we're ready to dive into our first big step today, I think we have to talk about the elephant in the room, and that is the heavy weight of regret. I truly believe that there is no greater pain than the pain of regret, because it has this way of slowly killing your soul if you let it. You know, I once read that nothing can drain your energy faster than that feeling that you missed your moment.
Oof, that is so true, Emma, and it's a feeling that makes you want to hide under the covers forever. But we have to remember that we shouldn't be afraid to take a risk in life, even if the what-if feels terrifying. Going after what you really want is a brave move, but so many of us stop before we even start because we're scared of the mess.
Exactly. And let's be real for a second. You might fail, and honestly, you will most likely fail often when you try something new. I think we have this Instagram version of success in our heads where everything is perfect on the first try, but that's just not real life.
It's definitely not, and I think that leads us perfectly into step 2, which is about choosing the right kind of failure. See, failure while going after your dreams is actually nothing compared to the failure of settling for a life you don't want. That second kind of failure is much quieter, but it's way more dangerous because it stays with you every single day.
That's such a powerful way to look at it, Liam. It's like, would you rather fail at being a warrior or fail because you were too scared to leave your comfort zone? I've definitely had seasons where I was just drifting because I was too afraid to decide that I wanted more out of life.
We've all been there, and I think we often forget that it is never too late to try again or to reinvent who you are. No matter what has happened in your past or even the things that failed to happen, you can still make the choice to grow. But the catch is that you have to be truly committed to that change.
That word commitment is everything, isn't it? It's not just a wish, it's a decision to make this very day the best one of your life by creating new opportunities for yourself. I love the idea that we can rise above average thoughts and learn something completely new no matter our age.
Right, because most people don't change simply because they lack the courage or they fear the unknown. They're so worried about what's around the corner that they stay stuck in the exact same place year after year. But you have to be different and find the courage to try, even when your hands are shaking.
It reminds me of that beautiful idea that even on a cloudy day, the sun is still shining. We just have to wait for the clouds to pass to see that tomorrow is a brand new day and a much brighter one. It's about being fearless and refusing to give up even when the path feels uphill.
I think people often wait for someone else to give them permission to change, but nobody's going to make you leave your current situation. That's entirely up to you. This is your dream, and you can never settle for less than what you are worth. You have to keep fighting for that top spot in your own soul.
And it doesn't matter where you're starting from. I don't care if you're living in your cup or facing the toughest battles. Sometimes the toughest battles come to the toughest warriors because they're the ones who can actually handle the pressure. You have to walk and talk like you've already won the game before it's even finished.
That mindset is so fluent and forward, Emma. You have to become rich on the inside with purpose and desire before you can ever see that success on the outside. If you have nothing else, find that purpose because it will give you the ability to walk into any room with confidence.
I love that. It's about making the choices today so that you have absolutely no regrets tomorrow. We need to breathe in that fresh air today and stop turning back to the mistakes of yesterday. There is no turning back once you decide to be better and give it your all.
Exactly. You have to be positive and rise above those average thoughts that tell you to stay small. All it takes is your commitment, your courage, and that deep desire to be a better version of yourself than you were yesterday.
So, if you're listening and you feel intimidated by your own goals, just remember that tomorrow is a new day. Today is the first day of the rest of your life, so show yourself some of that courage we've been talking about. It's time to be fearless and move towards that destination you have in your soul.
And remember, those tears you might shed today are just the motion that leads you toward your own paradise. You have to keep fighting, because if you stop, nobody's going to pick you up. You have to be the one to keep walking that path. Don't fear failure. Fear being in the exact same spot next year as you are today.
All right, Liam, let's keep this momentum going and move into the next part of our journey. We've talked about the why, but now we need to talk about the how, the actual work of changing your life. Because a dream is just a beautiful thought until you decide to commit to making this very day the best of your life.
Exactly, Emma. It all comes back to that word commit. Most people wait for a magic feeling or a sign from the universe, but real change is just a series of small, brave choices you make when you don't feel like it. It's about creating opportunities for yourself instead of just sitting around and waiting for them to fall into your lap.
I love that idea of creating opportunities. I think we often wait for the perfect time, but the truth is, it's never too late to reinvent yourself or learn something new. Whether it's a language, a new skill, or just a new way of looking at the world, that growth is what keeps your soul from feeling old.
It really is. And I think part of that commitment is being okay with what I call the messy middle. You know, that part where you feel a bit lost or even average. You have to rise above those average thoughts and realize that you wouldn't be the first person on earth to turn everything around.
That's so true, Liam. Turning it around isn't some impossible miracle. It just takes your commitment, your courage, and your desire to be better. But let's be honest, it's not always a walk in the park. Sometimes you feel like you're walking right through a storm. And that brings us to the next big thing, facing those tough battles.
Yeah, and I love the way we should look at those storms. The toughest battles really do come to the toughest warriors. If your life feels hard right now, it might just be because you are being prepared for a much bigger game.
Oof, I needed to hear that today. It's so easy to want to give up when things get cloudy and the path disappears. But like we mentioned, even on a cloudy day, the sun is still shining. You just have to wait for the clouds to pass.
Right, and while you're waiting, you have to keep moving. You have to be fearless and never give up on the destination that you have in your soul. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman or what your past looks like. If you stop, nobody is going to pick you up and carry you.
That sounds a bit tough love, but it's actually really empowering, isn't it? It means the power is in your hands to walk that path. And get this, even the tears you cry aren't wasted. They are just part of the motion that leads you to your own paradise.
I've never thought about it that way. Tears as motion. It means even your pain is moving you forward if you don't quit. You have to walk and talk like you've already won the game, even if you feel like you have nothing in your pockets right now.
Exactly. It's all about that internal purpose. That purpose is what gives you the ability to walk into a room of successful people and know that you belong there. You have to become rich on the inside, in your heart and mind, before you ever see that wealth on the outside.
And that's the real secret of the comeback, Emma. It's not about the money or the fame first. It's about the win you have with yourself. It's about knowing you didn't settle for less than you're worth.
I think about that settling part a lot. Most people stay stuck because they fear the unknown or they fear failure. But you have to be different. You have to have the courage to try, even if your hands are shaking.
That's right. Don't fear failure. Fear being in the exact same place next year as you are today. That is the real horror movie. Waking up and realizing you haven't moved an inch while the world went forward.
Oh, that thought actually gives me chills, Liam. It makes me want to get up and do something productive right now. It reminds me that tomorrow is a brand new day, a brighter day, but today is the first day of the rest of your life.
It really is. And you have to show that courage today, not someday. You have to be fearless and keep fighting for that top spot in your own life. Because if you don't fight for your dream, who will?
I love that fire, Liam. It reminds me that we shouldn't care if we're starting from the bottom or if we're facing the biggest challenges. You just have to keep fighting, because those cars on the wrong path will just keep rolling. But you have your own road to walk.
Exactly. And that road leads to your paradise, but only if you stay on it. You have to see the game like it's already won and walk with that confidence every single day.
And when you get to the top, because you will if you don't quit, remember what it felt like to be at the bottom. That's what makes a true warrior. You use your success to give someone else a shot, someone else who is struggling just like you were.
That is so important. Success with empathy isn't really success at all, but it starts with you making the choices today that leave you with no regrets tomorrow. You have to breathe in that commitment today so you can breathe easily tomorrow.
I'm feeling so inspired right now. It makes me realize that we are all tough warriors in our own way. We just have to stop looking back and start moving forward with everything we've got.
There really is no turning back once you decide to give it your all. You have to be the one to decide that enough is enough and make that change for good.
You know, Liam, I actually had a moment like this a few years ago. I was working a job that just made me feel average and gray. I was so afraid of the unknown that I stayed there for 2 years longer than I should have.
What was the turning point for you, Emma? What made you finally decide to take that risk and go after what you really wanted?
It was a Tuesday morning, and I looked at myself in the mirror and realized I was in the exact same place I was the year before. I felt that soul-killing regret we talked about, and I just knew I had to reinvent myself.
That is a classic line in the sand moment. You realize that failing at something new was better than the failure of settling for a life you didn't want.
Exactly. I started small, learning one new thing every day. It wasn't easy, and I definitely failed a lot at first, but I refused to give up.
And look at you now. You're here helping people grow their English and their lives. It just shows that if you have the desire to be better, it truly is never too late.
It really isn't. And for anyone listening who feels stuck, just remember that today is your day. Make that commitment and show yourself some of that warrior courage.
Well said, Emma. It all comes down to that internal win. You have to become winsome on the inside before the world sees it on the outside.
I love that word winsome. It's such a beautiful way to describe that inner light. It's that light that keeps you going even on a cloudy day.
And that light is what helps you find your purpose. Once you have that, you have the ability to turn everything around.
So let's make a promise to ourselves today. No more settling for less than we're worth. No more fearing the unknown.
I'm in. Let's commit to growing, learning, and fighting for our dreams every single day.
Because tomorrow is a new day, and we are going to make it the brightest one yet.
And we're going to do it together, one small, brave step at a time, until we reach that paradise in our souls.
So, Liam, after all this talk about fighting the good fight, I think the most beautiful part is the shift in our mindset. I remember hearing that you have to become winsome on the inside before you can ever truly be rich on the outside. It's like your heart has to grow into the person you want to be before the world ever sees the results.
That is such a profound way to look at it, Emma. We spend so much time worrying about the outside stuff, the money, the title, the things we own. But if the inside is empty, none of that matters. You have to walk and talk like the game is already won, even if you're starting from absolute scratch today.
I love that. Walking like the game is already won. It completely changes how you enter a room. If you have that inner purpose and that fire, you could walk into a room filled with millionaires and feel completely at home. You aren't looking for their approval anymore because you're finally standing in your own truth and knowing your worth.
And that truth is what gives you the strength to never settle for less than you deserve. It's a choice we have to make every single morning when we wake up. Today is literally the first day of the rest of your life, and you get to decide what you do with this time. You have to be fearless and just go for it.
And you know what I think is the real mark of a winner? It's what you do when you finally get to that top spot we all dream about. Instead of closing the door, you reach back down and give another person a shot. You remember exactly how it felt to be at the bottom, and you use your success to help someone else rise up.
That is exactly what a true warrior does. They don't just win for themselves, they win for everyone who is still struggling and feeling lost in the clouds. They know that even when the day is cloudy, the sun is still back there, just waiting for the right moment to shine again.
It's so comforting to know that tomorrow is always a new day, a brighter day. No matter how many times you've failed or how long you've been drifting along, you can choose to make this very day the best one of your life.
It all comes down to your commitment and your courage. If you have the desire to be better, then the impossible starts to look very possible. So breathe deeply today, let go of the past, and make the choices that leave you with no regrets tomorrow.
I think that's the perfect summary for our listeners today. Don't fear the failure. Fear staying in the exact same spot next year as you are today. Take that risk, go after what you really want, and never let that quiet voice tell you that your time has passed.
Because your time is right now. The destination you have in your soul is waiting for you, and even the tears you've shed are just the motion carrying you toward your paradise. Never give up. Keep fighting for that dream. And remember, it is never, ever too late to turn everything around.
All right, Liam, let's move into one of my favorite parts of our time together, the word tour. This is where we take some of those heavy, powerful words we've been using and really look at them closely. It helps us own the language and make it part of our own story, you know? Our first stop on the tour today is the word regret. We mentioned earlier that nothing can kill your soul more than the feeling of regret. It's that lingering, heavy what if that keeps you awake at night, thinking about the paths you didn't take.
Oof, exactly, Emma. Regret is like a ghost that just won't leave the house until you address it. We have to realize that there is no greater pain than that of regret. But the good news we've discussed is that we can make the choices today so that we have no regrets tomorrow. We should breathe deeply today and focus on the now so we don't have to look back with that same sadness later.
That's such an important reminder for all of us. It makes me think about how often we stay in a situation just because it's familiar, which leads us to our second word, settle. I think we've all been guilty of this at some point. We settle for a life that we don't actually want because we're afraid of the risk of trying for more. But the truth is, we should never settle for less than we are truly worth. I remember staying in a job I didn't like for way too long just because I was comfortable. That is the definition of settling.
It really is. And in the big picture, settling for an average life is a much bigger failure than trying and failing while going after your dreams. Most people stay stuck because they fear the unknown or they lack the courage to move. But you have to be different. You have to have the courage to try. Don't fear failure. Fear being in the exact same place next year as you are today. That is a much scarier thought than making a mistake while trying to grow.
You're so right, Liam. That thought gives me the push I need. And if you're tired of where you are, you can use our third word, reinvent. I love this word because it's just bursting with hope. It's never too late to reinvent yourself, to learn something new, or to grow. I have a friend who started learning a brand new language in her 70s. She decided she wanted more out of life, and she didn't let age stop her.
That is incredibly inspiring. It reminds us that it's never too late to commit to making this very day the best of your life. You wouldn't be the first person on earth to turn everything around. It's not impossible. It just takes that commitment and that deep desire to be better. You have to become winsome inside before the world sees you as rich on the outside.
So true. And to reach that point, you have to be our fourth word, fearless. To be fearless doesn't mean the fear completely disappears. It means you are brave enough to take the risk in life anyway. We should never be afraid to go after what we really want. You have to show your courage and be fearless even when the path ahead looks a bit cloudy.
Yeah, and we have to remember that even on a cloudy day, the sun is still back there. You might be in the middle of a tough battle right now, but the toughest battles always come to the toughest warriors. You have to keep fighting because nobody is going to pick you up if you decide to stop. Be fearless, keep walking, and don't give up.
Which leads us to our final destination, literally. The fifth word is destination. This isn't just a physical place on a map, but the destination that you have in your soul. It's that beautiful place you're working toward every single day. Sometimes we get so caught up in the hard work and the struggle that we forget the beautiful place we are trying to reach.
Exactly, Emma. But you have to keep that vision clear in your heart. The tears you cry along the way aren't wasted. They're just part of the motion that leads you to your paradise. It's where you want to make it in this life. So keep fighting for that top spot and walk like you've already won the game. It all takes your commitment and your desire to finally arrive at that destination in your soul.
Wow, Liam, I feel so much lighter after this conversation. It's such a powerful reminder that it is never too late to decide you want more out of life.
I agree, Emma. We just have to remember that we wouldn't be the first people on Earth to turn everything around.
Exactly. So let's all commit to making this very day the best of our lives. No matter what has happened in your past, you can still choose to grow and feel good again.
Just keep fighting because the destination you have in your soul is worth every bit of the effort. Don't fear failure, just fear being in the exact same place next year as you are today.
That is the ultimate goal, and I truly believe everyone listening has the courage to make it happen. Thank you for spending this time with us and for being part of our global family.
We are so proud of you for showing up today. Your progress doesn't end here. To continue advancing your English skills, click on the next video or explore the additional videos we've thoughtfully selected for you.